right. All right, we're live. Welcome, everybody. Ben is a guest on the show today. This is Let's Talk Rollerblading, and this is the 5th episode of the show, which does not come out very often. But Ben has been on the show once before, and it's been, I don't know, probably like 6 months or something. A lot has happened with you over that time. I mean, 5,000 subscribers now. That's impressive.
True.
You've skated like, what, 10 different skates since we talked last?
Probably close
Bunch
to
of different frames.
Yeah.
Wizard skating.
That's true.
All sorts of shit, dude. You've been doing awesome stuff. Trips. So how have you been? It's great to see you.
Man, yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure. Like you're the legend, you're the GOAT. And I just feel so like it's still like, man, I'm gonna fanboy for just a second, but it's still just so cool that we can just like hang out and BS. And like I grew up watching your videos, you know what I mean? They shaped who I like, you know, if we really were to follow this back, there's a chance that my channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for what you've done for rollerblading. There's a good chance. So anyway, man, it's an honor. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you.
Well, thank you.
But everything's been good, man. Just trying to stay busy, man. Trying to pump out the content. And actually, I have a big kind of announcement that I've been trying to not hide, but just not necessarily put out there. But I'm actually moving to Oklahoma City, which we can get into later. But I'm moving to Oklahoma City in like a week, dude.
No way. What are you doing out there?
Man, just skating, doing the same thing I'm doing.
But why? Why Oklahoma City?
Oh, why? So
because no one usually moves to Oklahoma.
Right. If you would have asked me a year ago, like, hey Ben, do you want to move to Oklahoma? And I'd be like, are you crazy? Of course not. So Jeremy and I drove to Ramping Camp, you know, Schmindy's Ramping Camp right up in Indiana. And this was months ago. So we drove up to Ramping Camp and we drove through Oklahoma. And we like looked at each other. It was just me and him in his truck. We looked at each other and we're like, dude, this place is like gorgeous. There's parts, certainly not all of it, but parts of it are just like gorgeous. And we're like, dude, everyone thinks this is a terrible, ugly, boring place, but it's beautiful. And so then fast forward a few months, we go to the Oklahoma Showdown in Oklahoma City or Norman, Oklahoma, which is, you know, a suburb of OKC. And we go again and it's like confirmed. I'm like, okay, because my lease is, all the stars are sort of lining up because my lease is up here in just like a week. And so we go to Oklahoma and I'm like, okay, yes, confirmed. I actually do like this place. I'm going to move there. The scene looks really cool. The parks look super dope. I'm going to live like literally a 2-minute skate away from a lakeside skate park in OKC. There's an indoor park for when it gets cold. I'm amped, bro.
I'm guessing that Oklahoma City's, the cost of living is a lot cheaper too than San Antonio.
It is, I wouldn't say it's a lot cheaper, but it is cheaper. It is cheaper.
And that new ramp and park they have out there that opened like a year ago or so is really cool. Is that where they had the contest?
Yeah, it's, what was that?
Like, there's like an outdoor mini ramp. Like did you guys that?
Yes. So that was the OK Showdown. Yeah, that park is super sick. It's down in Norman, which is pretty south. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to be right next to, which I'm going to go to that park certainly. But there's a couple parks right around where I'll be living that are going to be fantastic. In addition to that, so
well, I'm shocked that you like Oklahoma so much because I've been through Oklahoma City several times and definitely not a fan of it per se. It's probably changed a lot because it's been a long time since I've driven through there.
Okay, got it.
But one city in Oklahoma that we really like to skate in, which we've skated at a few times, is Tulsa. I don't know if you made it to Tulsa yet.
Haven't.
But Tulsa is very nice. It's like a mini Austin. At least it was like 10 years ago.
Sure.
And when I mean mini Austin, like mini Austin.
Yeah.
But there's really cool skate spots there. Really good.
Sick.
Pretty good park. So definitely make a road trip to Tulsa.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to seeing your content from Oklahoma. You can skate with A-Rock.
Yes. I mean, I'm just amped to skate. I know Chris Calkins, I think, is from OKC. Just Okie.
Yeah.
I think he's from there. I mean, I met him when I was at the OK Showdown, and the guy's the nicest dude. And it's different seeing clips and then seeing things in person. You know, when you see someone skate in person, you pick up on the tiny little nuances that you don't see in clips sometimes, and make you realize just how ridiculously good people are in person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, he's really good.
He's so good.
He's like, you know, I mean, He's sponsored by Power Slide or USD and Undercover or whatever. Really good. And let's see, Shitbox Diaries. I'm not sure who that is, but he skated Oklahoma tons of times. Tulsa, Oklahoma, that is. Which, cool.
Yeah,
I'd let you got to meet up with Shitbox if he's around there somewhere, because he's got to have some spots. And then we got their legend, Richard Johnson, in the chat.
Oh, let's go, dude. Richard is the man.
He wants to join. Can we get him in here too?
That'd be so sick.
You want to hang out?
Of course.
But I got back to work. Oh, bad Richard.
Oh, it's Poncho. Shitbox Diaries is it's Poncho.
So Richard, let's do something in the future. And I'd like to give a shout out to Richard as well. He bought a Big Wheel Blading hat, and I hope that you like it. He got the 5-panel Big Wheel Blading hat. And yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Richard, for the support with that. And Poncho, Shitbox Diaries is Poncho. Okay, Poncho Barrera, legendary San Antonio skater, is in the chat. Have you been hanging out with Poncho?
Yeah, we skated. When did we skate last? We went to Seguin. Have you ever been to Seguin skate park?
Yeah, I've been to Seguin.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's actually yeah.
That's where the Pirates are from. That's
where the who?
The Pirates. You don't know the Pirate crew? Mick Casals.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb Benavides.
Yep.
I've heard of a bunch of them.
Yeah,
they're all from Seguin.
Yeah. Oh, Caleb. Yeah. Anyway, we went to Seguin. I don't know. When I tested out, there was the Gray Matter Soul Plates video that I did. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I don't know. Time slips through my fingers, Jan. But we went to Seguin. Poncho was there tearing it up, dude. Still throwing down super hard.
Poncho's sick, dude. He's always
awesome. He's so awesome. He did a sick True Mizu down the down rail there. It was super dope. So
see, Poncho's original crew from like the late 90s, early 2000s, like they were all such rippers, and most of them quit except Poncho. You know, he like kept skating, but
yeah,
that original San Antonio crew back then was like on fire. Like you had Milton Holbrook, you had Rat Matt, a bunch of dudes that were really good. I don't know if you ever met Milton. He's like a tattoo guy now in San Antonio.
I've heard his name plenty of times, but I don't think so.
And I want to give a shout out to a big supporter of the channel and yours as well, Launder. Let's go.
He's the best, man.
He always supports, shows up in the live chats. Met him at Blading Cup. Really cool.
Sick.
Dude. And one of your homies,
Tree in the house.
You guys have been making some really good content, which is awesome. And he's like a legend. He's been around forever.
Yeah, and
we aged a day. I mean, he looks like the same dude from my videos 20 years ago.
Right, and his knees certainly haven't aged today. And we both became unofficial members of Team Faction just recently. I think on like the same day almost. So we both have faction. We both skate factions now, which I'm completely obsessed with, by the way. Obsessed.
Nice.
China wire stall frames. I just dropped a video right before this. And first time skating Creates, and I'm obsessed with Creates. I'm obsessed with factions.
So Creates are out of Boston, and I actually talked to Brian Lewis today, who's one of the owners.
Okay.
Because they're having a Skate Boston this weekend. I don't know if you heard of it. It's like a 5-day. And in big wheel blading circles, they have all these skate weekends. So they have them in New York, they have them in DC, LA, and they just do all these group skates for like 5 days. The Boston one's right now. And Hakeem and Brian Lewis recently bought big wheel blades from Gabe Holm at Thorough Shop in Boston. So they've been doing some, big wheel cruising, old man blading around the city.
So is Brian and Hakeem co-owners? Are they co-owners?
Yeah, they're co-owners and roommates.
And roommates.
So they live together. They've always pretty much lived together, ran the company, and lived out. Well, they used to live in Boston. Now they live more in the suburbs. But
got it. Okay, that because in my head I keep seeing Brian Lewis. I see his commenting around. He has OG Create Originals logo on his YouTube profile, and this. I'm trying to like connect all the dots, and so you just connected them for me. So
so that's the owners of Create, the OG crew, and I mean they've been around forever. I mean the first time I met Hakeem Jamo would have been in about 1998 1997, he came to the skate park in Austin. It was Inlet Skate Park, and on the birth tour with Chris Edwards, and he was on that. I actually recently logged the tape from that demo with Hakeem and Chris Edwards and everything. Had Brian Bell was there. That was a pretty cool one.
Wow, sick.
Let me see. Poncho says he had an ex-girlfriend there in Tulsa. Hung out with a bunch of bladers and brought them to Texas. Well, that's nice of you. That's nice of you.
Good times. Good times.
So now the creates. Well, let's talk about some. I'm interested in these skates. You skate every skate. Like you've been getting every skate. Either somebody lets you borrow them or you buy them. That's right.
Mostly borrow. So the skates that I've actually purchased, like I've skated some of the old classic skates. Usually those I've purchased. But the legitimate, not that they're illegitimate, not that these swindlers are at all illegitimate, but the more modern skates are I purchased. So really it was the Brain Deads, the 909s, and then these Factions are the two like modern skates that I've purchased recently.
And you bought the Icons.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I bought the AG20s and I ended up, they didn't fit. They did not fit. It's so funny, Jan, because I up until that point, I hadn't really stressed sizing seriously. I didn't go out of my way. I just trusted the sizing chart and that was that. But for these AG20s, it was such like an investment for me that I was like, well, let me really cross my T's and dot my I's on this. So I like literally reached out to half the team on Icon, was like, hey, what do you do? This is my foot size. What do you think? Bigger liner, smaller boot, vice versa. And they ended up just being too small by a significant margin. Not like, oh, I could have made it work. I could. No.
That's a bummer.
It was a bummer. So I ended up selling those. What did I buy next? Some Brain Dead 909s, which here's the thing is that I could tell the 909s, it was shell size medium. I could tell that they just felt large on my feet. And I just couldn't get over it. It was a mental thing, honestly. I don't think it was a performance thing. I think it was truly like a mental thing. I just looked down and they just looked big on my feet. And they were, in fact, a little bit too big, I think. I'm a 275 Mondo. They probably should have been a little bit smaller. And so I tried Tree's Danny Beer size small shells with my second skin My Fits in there, and they fit perfectly, like a dream. Okay. So then, not strike three, but third option here, the Factions, size 10, heat molded them. They're absolutely a dream. I'll leave it there.
Sick. I think that them skates, when I was in Quebec filming with Robert Guerrero, a couple months ago, he had some them 909s I skated, and I'm a size 10.5 in normal shoes. So what was that, 28.5? Probably. What are you, a 9.5?
I'm right at 275. Yeah, so I'm like right between 9.5 and 10, I think.
Yeah, generally. So I'm 28.5, I guess, but in ski boots I wear 27.5 just because you size down. But
yeah.
Anyway, I had these size medium lems, and they fit really well. I just they were just a stock liners, not like the Intuitions, and
right.
I didn't really like the liner. They reminded me of like a Razor's liner, almost like a Colt liner. Totally. So with some better liners, I could see that boot being really nice. I liked it. Like I liked the boot itself, but and then the Factions looked really cool. I mean, you've skated like USD carbons?
No, yeah. I've actually never formally skated carbons. I've skated Gods once.
Okay.
The FM2s, I guess, the white and black Gods. I'm not sure which ones those actually are.
That's probably similar to carbon, though, right?
Right. From what I understand, I mean, it's pretty darn similar. So I've never skated an actual USD carbon, at least not to my knowledge. But I've skated the Gods. I've skated the AG10s and 20s, and now the Factions, which I don't know how much, carbon DNA they really have or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the Factions look really cool, and
I love them.
I'm interested to see what the next release looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what V2 ends up looking like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of minor changes to happen after the first skate comes out.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting. I know Clark. Well, I actually was talking with Eric. Oh my God, Eric Michael at the OK Showdown, and he was saying it sounds like, I don't want to give away any trade secrets here or anything, but it sounds like they're going to have a V2 sole plate if they don't already. Maybe they do. I don't think they do.
I don't
But
think so. No.
A V2 sole plate that may appeal to more people aesthetically. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. It just seemed like that. I don't want to.
So go away from that K2 inspired sole plate.
Yeah, I think the wings, man, like people joke, bro. It's like, don't skate too fast or you're gonna fly away. Because these, wings.
Yeah.
But
they're different, that's
they are different. That's what I appreciate about them, is they are different. You will not mistake these for different skates at the skate park.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the live chat again. Wax nostalgic. Jan's memory is better than mine. My memory is pretty good, I guess, for old stuff. I had this conversation with Tori Traceder in the podcast. He didn't really remember half the stuff we were talking about. So, but there's a lot of stuff I forgot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in my blading history. And I talked to Tori, like, all the people who come through my houses in San Diego, I should have had a guest book, like a guest registry. So
that's sick.
Who came through.
Yeah.
Looking back would have been cool. And then JD Hacksaw wants to know when you dudes come to the East Coast of Canada. So I went to the East Coast of Canada once, I went to New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia, and hung out with a couple skaters there. And that was before COVID. And I've been planning on going back because it's awesome there. And the scene has blown up since last time I was there. But gas is so expensive, and it's a far drive for me.
Yeah.
And it's even more expensive when you cross into Canada.
Yeah.
So, when I go to Quebec, I always gas up at the border, and I never have to gas up in Quebec. So, but I plan on coming back, JD, and you should go sometime when you visit your brother in Maine, because that's very close to New Brunswick.
That's true. We drove up to Prince Edward Island one time. It's one time I've been in Canada. I was younger. There's some good skating there. There's Charlottetown, or whatever the capital is. They have good skaters. They have some parks, cool street spots. Let's do it.
And there's some trails. Yeah. So, all right.
So Lander says, sorry. Lander says, Ben, I'm gonna send you my small 909s. Lander, don't do that, because I have trees size small Danny beers literally over there sitting on my couch. So I have small 909s. Thank you very much, Lander, but don't send them because I have small 909s right now.
I do have a question on the skates you've been skating. So you said you borrowed a lot of skates.
Yeah.
Is there any of the skates you borrowed that you would like to actually have a pair for yourself?
AG10s all day long.
The AG10s?
Yeah. Like the way the factions are set up right now, and now that they're heat molded, these are probably the best skates I've ever skated. But the AG10s, I think, would give them a close, if I heat molded the AG10s and spent some time with them, it'd probably be like right there neck and neck, if not completely tied. So that's the big one. I've
been skating the AG10s. Is the skate that I skate the most. But I took off the sole plates and I put the Wizard PR80s on them.
Okay.
So I skate those as a Wizard setup at least like 4 nights a week.
Sick.
And I love them for Wizard skating. That rigid cuff and everything is really nice. So I actually haven't even tried them on aggressive skating because I like the AG20s. I have the AG20s as my aggressive setup with some wish frames on them. And that feels pretty good. Were we going to say something?
Well, I was going to ask you real quick. I saw the clip of you wizard skating on ice.
Oh,
Jan wizard skating on ice. Were those AG10s with the blades on there?
On the ice? No, those were the power slide Kaze or K's or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't look close enough.
But the frames on there, they're the Trinity Trident ice frames,
right.
And those frames come in 4 sizes: small, medium, large, extra large. And I searched forever for an ice frame that was long enough for my skate, because usually they all have one size and they're more for like a small medium. Now, the ones I got are XL, which are almost too big because they extend off the front and the back. Usually a hockey frame, it's like, right below the toe and the heel.
Right.
But because it's longer, it feels like the PR80s. So it's like a long rockered wizard ice skate frame. And they're super awesome. And like on the wizard skates, I've been doing like inside edge to outside edge, like 1 foot a turn or whatever. Anyway, on my right foot, and I learned on my left foot ice skating on what day was that, Tuesday or whatever. I did my left foot for the first time, and then that night I did it on the wizard skates. Super easy. So it's like
sick
crossover for like the wizard.
Yeah,
and wizard skating really is just like ice skating.
Right, totally. You get the edges there, and I feel like you can. I mean, it's different than skiing, but I feel like there's certainly some similarities with the skiing and the edges and etc.
Mm-hmm. We got Trey, question for both of y'all. What kind of difference would it make if you woke up tomorrow and your channel had 1 million subs? I'm gonna let you answer that one first, Ben.
Dude, Tree has the best questions. Tree, don't think I haven't been noticing your questions. Seriously. Because the last 3 or 4 questions that you've asked that on live streams, whatever it is, like they've been excellent questions. So I just want to acknowledge that really quick. If I woke up tomorrow and my channel had 1 million subs, that would mean it's probably making a whole lot more ad revenue, which would mean I could hire a videographer / editor and I can make much better and more frequent content. So if I woke up tomorrow, basically first thing and I knew it wasn't a joke. Basically first thing I would do is make sure like, hey, this is legitimate. And then I would hire a videographer. I would basically do something similar to what like Braille does, right? I would have effectively like a very small team. I'd have someone that with a camera and someone that edits full time so that we can pump out as much awesome content as possible.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a good answer. So for me, what I would do if I woke up with 1 million subs, I would also think, is this like a glitch or whatever? But yeah, that would be awesome. I would also focus on more content, but I would have someone help me with all these tapes that I've been logging, going through them, trimming them down, because every time I log an old tape, it's 60 minutes long. It's at least half of it's just crap footage that nobody wants to see. It's just like standing around and like talking and dumb shit. So usually an hour tape gets trimmed down to 15 minutes or something of skating. So has me do that. There's a lot of kind of documentary style shows I've been wanting to do, which would involve more research and gathering content. So having a team, like you said. But more on like a kind of like a back end, on a computer type stuff, which would be cool. And I would get some really cool camera gear.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that too.
And also what's the shit.
Yeah,
and a studio. I would probably get like a better studio besides my tiny room, which looks really big because I have the 0.5 on my iPhone right now. So thank you for the question, Trey.
Yeah, big time, Trey. The $4.99 super chat, man. You're the man.
Go ahead.
Man, shoot. There was something I was... I don't remember. Oh, did you ever find that camera you were looking for?
No, I'm still looking for a high 8 camera.
Yeah.
I had a couple leads. People didn't have chargers or weren't sure if they worked. Definitely knew when it works. I got a high 8 camera from Nick Mance, and Nick Mance was a skater. He had a section Daily Bread 5 or 4, and no Quattro, I think. Actually, I don't remember which one. One of those 2 videos. Anyway, he sent me a high 8, which was very nice of him, and I got about 8 tapes logged before it broke. I also thinking a high 8 deck. I mean, I could buy a deck for like $200 to $400, but the thing is I don't make any money really, off doing these videos. So it's like a lot of investment for that. So it would be better if somebody has an old camera laying around that they're just going to get rid of anyway. So if anybody here has an old camera, Launder does have a VHS-C camera, which he told me about, which is awesome because I do have a bunch of old VHS-C tapes, which is my oldest footage from about 94 to 96 era. So really old Jason Howard footage, Robert Guerrero stuff. So that I can log with that camera that Launder has, so that's cool.
Gotcha.
But yeah. All right. Let's see. Did you ever skate those CJ2 Primes aggressive skates?
No.
Ben? Nope.
Nope. Sorry, Martz. So I borrowed, those were very time sensitive skates. The CJ2 Primes, I just skated Wizard. I feel bad because I didn't even show the sole plate. When I unboxed those skates, I literally was in Wizard mindset, as if like I didn't even know what aggressive skating was. So I literally just discarded the sole plates and didn't even show them on camera, which was a terrible, miserable mistake. And I apologize for that. But to answer your question, no, I skated them because actually the owner didn't want me to skate them aggressively because he wanted to keep them in good condition for wizard skating, which I totally respect 100%. So to answer your question, no, that's why I didn't skate them like that.
Yeah, people ask me all the time about those skates and how they compare to like the Icons and the Carbons, but I've never skated them before.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've never skated any Saber FRs. And let's see. Joey Rolls. I'm going skiing for the first time in December. Very interested to see how similar different it is to skating. Joey Rolls. I ski a lot because I live in Vermont. So for me, skiing is just like skating. It's just like urban cruising and downhill skating. It's like a lot more like big wheel blading as far as just skiing down a mountain goes. As far as grinds and stuff go, I mean, similar stances, but the feel is not really the same because there's no grooves, but some people, some skaters don't like skiing or can't ski. They'd rather snowboard because it's a little bit different. So I always find that interesting. But for me, skiing came natural. Like the first day I was on skis, I was like going down the mountain.
Same.
Let's see. Tree. Launder says, bring Tree on. Should we get Tree on here?
If he's down, I tried to bring him on yesterday, but he was preoccupied. So
Tree, let us know in the live chat if you want to come on. If you do, I'll send you a link. Or can you send links from your end too?
Let me see. It doesn't look like it. No.
All right.
Oh, hold on. Oh no, that's just share screen. Yeah.
And then here's another question for you, Ben. On the Create Originals, do you know the millimeter split between wheel 2 and 3?
Chris, I'm looking on createoriginals.com right now, which you've probably already done. And they give like actually, can you click on my screen? Can you share my little screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking on here right now, and I'm sure you've already looked at this, but they have the outer axle dimensions on the small at 242, and then the outer wheelbase on the larger 264, 265, whatever. But clearly, I mean, obviously they don't show the inner wheel dimensions, which is a reasonable question to ask. I'm surprised that they don't have that dimension on here, to be honest with you. They have everything else, but not that. So anyway,
that's weird.
Yeah, so that's my answer. Sorry, brother.
I actually, speaking of like sizing stuff, I have a lot of people ask me like on like power slide USD skates, widths, because you got like medium width skates and wide skates and narrow skates. And most of the power slide skates are narrow. Anyway, there's a document on their website I found that breaks down all 5 of their last sizes. Really cool. I'll end up posting. I'll post a link to that document in the description below this video when we're done, so people can check it out if anyone has questions about that stuff. And Memory Camp has a question for me. Jan, you share a great street skating memory from. Can you share a great street skating memory from United Front 2? Just watch the upload. Great stuff. United Front 2. Well, there was a lot of memories from that video. Some crazy skating went down. I mean, filming with like Gonzo and Connor for that video they are such good skaters, you know, and it was just mind blowing watching them skate because those are two guys who can do stuff like pretty much first try. You always see people skating videos and you're like, oh, they could do that first. They probably could do that first try. Well, a lot of skaters can't do stuff first try. You know, a lot of skaters, I'll spend like 2 hours filming one trick, you know, but these guys could do stuff first try. I'm actually having a blank on the video, even though I just watched it a bunch, on my favorite moments in it. I do think it's I do like the fact that Michael Stein has a bunch of tricks in the outro. And if you're not familiar with Michael Stein, he's a Dallas skater, and he, along with his friend, are the ones who did the music for Stranger Things. So all the music for Stranger Things is by Michael Stein, and he has clips in that video, and he was a really good skater.
Not to step on your toes, Tree said, "Go ahead and send a link whenever you're ready."
Okay, I need to. I guess I need his email address or something.
I usually just send it over to people on Instagram, and so like if he's on his phone, he can just pop right on his phone.
All right, let me find Tree on Instagram.
And then if you want me to, it's up to you, but I can pull up Trash, and we can do that while you're.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull that up, and I'm messaging Tree right now, and. All right, I just sent the link to Tree.
Oh, okay, cool. You're faster than I am, so never mind.
But you could pull up United Front too if you want in the background. I'm trying to get back to the streamer. There we go.
Yeah.
Let me see. Here is a. I also put up United Front 1, you know, this week or last week too. And United Front 1 has one of the clips. Like, I filmed a few clips that I'd say are in my top 10, and United Front 1 is definitely one of those clips, and that's of Dustin Jones doing the soul-to-soul transfer on La Jolla High School in the Stunt Seeker section. It's the one that's like, you know, he's flat rail on the right and then transfers the down rail to the left. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
You know, I can't picture it right this second, but I know, like, if I saw it, I would recognize it.
Well, you could pull that up. We could pull that up.
United Front 1, you're saying?
Yeah, so it's on my YouTube channel. Let's see. Alex Keefs prefers snowboarding. Alex, why do you prefer snowboarding? Is it because it's different from skating, or is there another reason? What up, Jan Ben? Hello, Max Power. Thank you for joining us.
Max Power's the man. Max Power, forgive me, I don't remember your name. Jan, I'm confident that you know who Max Power is. Do you know who he is in person? Max
Power, I believe so.
He's out of Austin. I met him the other day at the DIY park in Austin for the candy for the Ends premiere.
The Ends premiere. Oh, you know, speaking of the Ends premiere,
yeah.
You know, Mick Casals just, you know, he had his interview on Wheel Scene. I don't know if you guys checked it out. If not,
I didn't see it yet.
Popular Wheel Scene, Mick did an interview I was supposed to actually have on a podcast, but it just didn't happen. So I'll have a follow-up with him a little bit later. But I did get in the mail from Mick. I have to open it. Thought we could open it right now.
Sick.
Mick made a photo book for the Ends video. And if you haven't seen the Ends video, it's the last video from Anthony Medina. And we can put a link of it below so you can check it out. But he did a book for the video. And the last video they did was Candy. And for Candy, they also did a book. And this is the Candy book from the last video. Did you have one of these, Ben?
You know, I did. I got the VOD. I didn't get the book.
All right. What about the Ends book?
No, I'm sorry. I got the Ends VOD.
Okay. So Ends book, unfortunately, it's damaged. It came bent. So that's not neat. That's not cool.
Mick's going to be pissed.
Yeah, so the book came damaged, which I'm kind of sad about. It's a wider format than the other one. The other one was a square. So that's cool. But yeah, this book is, it looks pretty rad. It's got a lot of text, photos. It's got QR codes you can scan.
Right, so you can watch.
There.
So we actually cheated the system a little bit because before we actually watched the premiere, you can scan those QR codes and see some of the tricks. So I don't know if we cheated the system, but
I heard on one of the QR codes you can see the new Andrew Broom razor skate.
Ooh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I haven't heard that.
I'm kind of bummed about this being damaged.
Yeah.
On his spine, so that's kind of sad. So we've got Tree is here.
Oh, is he in?
Yeah, he is in. Look at Tree. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. Whoop. Hello. There you go.
Is that a Yoo-hoo?
It's a Yoo-hoo.
Let's go.
Put on a Yoo-hoo kick. They had it for free at an ASA, and like I didn't have any water, or drinks, or money, so I just drank Yoo-hoo all day, and they got me hooked.
Sick.
So that's sick. Well, this is my first time having 3 people on the show. Actually, I take it back. I've had 3 on my others. I did that other series where I talked to 2 other people. So I lied. But this is the first time having 3 people on this Let's Talk Rollerblading show.
All
so
right.
welcome.
Okay, this is just a chatting thing. I wasn't trying to like steal Ben's spotlight or anything like that.
Oh
no, you're fine. I've actually been wanting to talk to you in person. You know, last time I saw you in person was in Chicago, maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah, about that. It was a long time ago.
Something like that.
Probably about that much time prior to that too. Or actually longer than that. I know that.
Yeah, I was up there with Rory and Colin, right?
Yep.
So what you have when you pulled up the United Front, right?
I did. Sorry.
If you fast forward, I guess I should have pulled it up so I could fast forward to the right spot.
Do you want to do that? I'm actually posting on Instagram right now so I can get more people on the stream.
All right, so we're back.
Yeah. Lost the second yawn.
We're back all here together. I'm gonna let you guys talk for a minute as I find this video real quick.
Oh,
there we go. Y'all just dropped out. It's our stream now. All right.
Hey, what are those rec skates you've been jamming on lately? Which ones are those?
They are K2 Athena 6.1s.
Oh, those are K2s.
Yeah. K2s. They're so good.
Are they your favorite rec skates? Are they your favorite rec skates?
By far. They're so much fun. Like it's hard for me to skate the factions right now just because I want to skate them. It's weird, but man, they're so much fun to skate.
Wow. What do you like about them?
I mean, they roll really good and they fit good. They fit really good.
Wow, bro.
Like
they
cruising
look
around
let's not forget they look. Let's not forget they look
pretty cool.
Dope.
I mean, they're like women's breast care awareness skates or something like that.
Oh, are they actually?
Yeah, they have like the pink ribbon on them and stuff. So
dude, pretty rad. So sick. That's so sick.
You can see what Jan is doing. It's by Jan's computer.
Sorry, I'm trying to do the whole like Instagram thing.
Here we go, guys. I'm on. I'm still an amateur at this program we're on right now, StreamYard.
You're good, my man.
But okay, so I want to show you that trick that was. So let's watch this section here. I don't know if anyone's seen this section or not. Are you guys still there?
Yep. Still here. Sorry.
Huh. It doesn't seem to be sharing for some reason.
Oh, did you hit? You could hit full screen.
Oh.
I think it's a different window.
All right. Well, let me remove it.
Learn StreamYard together.
I'm gonna let you guys chat again.
Sick.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I got all these questions, but like when it comes to like being on the screen, like, oh, I don't know what the heck to say.
Yeah.
So my questions are very, very, there's a good amount of time put into all those questions.
Well, here's my thing. Not here's my thing, but you have 1 million subscribers. You wake up tomorrow, 1 million subs. What do you do?
Oh, for me?
Yeah, I'm recycling your question to you.
Oh, geez. Yeah. See, I don't know. Like the artist part of me says like, oh, I would just keep doing the same thing because I got 1 million subs that way. But it does open the door for like, monetary things and things like that, which is terrifying to me. I hate like the marketing side of things. Really, it's because I work in marketing, so it's like it's all a bunch of BS, really.
Yeah.
Just to sell a product. But Yeah, it would open a lot of doors, I guess, and it's just be easier to get around and do things like, oh, I have 1 million subs, so
Oh, exactly.
be a lot more easy to convince people to get on board with projects. I feel like.
All right, let's see if this works this time. If not, I just give up. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I guess you can't make it full screen, huh?
You can do the theater mode. That'll get rid of the stuff on the side there.
Theater mode. Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that. Thank you. So this is the stunt seeker section from United Front 1. Dustin Jones. You've seen this. You've seen this, Ben? Yeah? No?
It's been a while. It's been a while, yeah.
Hey, Tree, have you seen this?
I just watched this the other day on your channel.
So Aaron DeZon right here, he hurt himself filming the section, and that was the end of his skating career. He blew his knee out on a rail, but he was really good. And he went on a mission to India.
Sorry, Jan, dumb question. Because United Front 2 was trash. Is
Yeah.
United Front 1, does it have a specific kind of...
It's just United Front 1.
Okay, got it.
So it's just United Front. And then Trash came out 2 years later, and that was United Front 2, Trash.
Okay, yeah.
Holy. So Dustin Jones was an animal.
Dustin was from New Mexico?
Yeah, he was from Albuquerque.
Oh, that's sick. Oh.
And this trick right here, he actually landed it on the 3rd try, but the camera died, so I didn't get the last the one we landed it.
So how does a person from Albuquerque, New Mexico get into United Front?
Yeah, really.
Well, he skated with Jeremy Gallegos. Do you remember Jeremy Gallegos?
Okay, yeah.
Still around. They're both from Albuquerque. And he skated, and Dustin was on Razors. So he would come out to San Diego with Jeremy, and they would come and film.
So I was dating a girl, pseudo-dating a girl in Albuquerque who knew Jeremy Gallegos.
He's real cool. He still skates.
Oh,
This is the trick. This is the trick.
No
way. Oh, come on. Dude, Chrome.
The suspension, or what is it?
What happened?
Oh, it froze right on that.
The algorithm knows that it's too powerful.
Trick. Yeah.
It froze right on the trick, right? Look, can we rewind? There we go. Okay.
Wait, did you do that first and then go for the topsoul? Or was the topsoul first?
The topsoul was, I don't remember.
Oh yeah, soul to topsoul.
Soul to soul, but
soul.
That was probably one of the top in my top 10 craziest tricks I filmed, in my opinion. All right, we're getting a little bit choppy. Let's go ahead and remove the live stream.
A little laggy.
Wow.
Yeah, something with. I've had this problem too. There's something about Chrome, I think, that just uses up too many resources.
I'm using Firefox.
Or Firefox, browsers in general. I don't know why.
All right. Let's go back to no videos. Maybe 3 people, and a video is just too much to ask for. But we got to see the trick I was talking about, and that was definitely a gnarly trick. And Dustin Jones is like a doctor now. Doesn't skate. But he was crazy. He was one of the guys on Blitz Tour, on the Razors Blitz Tour, which is a tour we did in 2001. 30 days, like 14 states, like 27 skate parks. And it was entire Razors team was on it. And they would fly, like switch riders like every 7 days.
Jan, can I ask you a really quick question?
Yeah.
Probably not going to be really quick. But like, so I see like some of these tours, and I relate them to some of my experiences, like Tree Week, right? Mm-hmm. Where I'm like sleeping in a warm bed at my mom's house in Fort Worth while I'm skating with Tree all day. Can you just talk for a moment? And I've gone on plenty of skate trips. Sure, I got it. But I've never gone on a tour. Can you just talk briefly about spending, 30 days or whatever you said it was with the same people, skating, getting wrecked, getting sweaty, like just the experience?
Well, okay, so on that tour, it was 30 days, and I was the only person on the tour for 30 days because I was filming it. Everyone else was switching out. But it was like the whole Razors team. Shima, Dustin Jones, Mike Johnson, Ian McLeod, Jeff Stockwell, Charles Dunkel, the Kelsos, like Wes Driver was on it, John Elliott, Corey Casey, all sorts of people. And we had this RV, it was a 30-foot RV that comfortably slept 4, maybe 5 people, with 10 to 12 people sleeping in it. So it's like somebody slept in each chair in the front. You had like 4 people on the master bed. You had 2 people in the little side beds. It was very uncomfortable. Everyone was pretty much drunk the whole time. There was fireworks going off inside the RV. Micah Yeager had punched a hole in the bathroom door. It was chaotic, and to be on that trip the whole time was definitely chaotic. We got a hotel, I believe. One night we had a hotel on the whole thing, but besides that, I was sleeping in an RV, and it was dirty. Like we had to empty the brown water all the time. We didn't empty it all the time, so it stunk. It was.
I have a follow-up question when you're done.
Okay, it was rough sleeping in that. That tour in particular, 30 days. And then trying to work and edit and stuff while doing it. Other tours we've done, like when we did the Razors West Coast tour, that one we camped partially and we stayed with different skaters along the way, which was nice. When we did like NIM tours, we would actually get hotels, which was nicer. And many tours have just slept in people's couches and floors and stuff like that. All right.
So my follow-up question, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm stealing from the chat here, but like, what did that tour or these type of experiences teach you?
Well, they taught things I learned from tours. When you travel around different places, obviously you get to experience different cities. You get to see what people are like in different places. You get to see what your peers are like, what they're really like. And it teaches you, I don't know what it really teaches you. It teaches you, maybe you don't go on a tour for 30 days with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That's what I was partially expecting that. Yeah.
Like, it was, I mean, Razors, that time was crazy. Everybody on the team was crazy. Everybody was young. I remember when we were in Mississippi and Alabama, you had all these like Bubbas with their shotguns and their trucks and stuff, and like we had Mike Johnson, Jason Howard. They didn't want to get out of the RV in like some of these places, and they just stayed in. We would get them food and stuff like that because it was just like so backwoods, Yeah, they were like a little afraid, and I don't blame them because it was like some of these places are kind of like scary, They're like it's like almost like you're back in the 50s,
right?
And that was that was 2001. I mean, it's 21 years later. I'm sure most of those places are still the same. Let me see. Is there any questions we haven't been getting to? Here's one from a while back. Have either of you experienced any serious hip or knee problems over the years? I had to take a number of years off due to hip issues from skating. I only have knee issues that get worse with age, but no injuries. What about you guys?
My knee only bothers me when I directly fall on it, which I'm currently going through right now. But other than that, knees are fine, and hips too. Hips don't really have that thing.
Yeah, my knees, like sometimes they're achy on certain days. Like if I like, for instance, I did Tree when I was when I made the video where I was basically like how to cess slide video. I was doing a lot of cess slides, a lot of my knees the next day were the next 2 days were pretty damn sore. But outside of that, not terrible.
I will say, go ahead, Trey.
Oh, I was going to ask you a totally unrelated question, Jan. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, all the knee issues I've had actually stem probably from riding fixed gear bikes because they're bad for your knees. So that kind of, went into skating and stuff. And they're not like bad. I don't really have issues when I'm skating. I have more issues like walking upstairs and stuff like that, What we're going to go off to, Trey?
Watching all of your upscaling videos, they look really good. If you don't mind sharing, what are you using to do the upresing?
Well, for the upscaling, I have a few different videos. First of all, I'm trying to find the master tapes or some of the, earlier tapes with the, the footage on it, so I can capture them fresh, so that I can upscale like at a better codec, versus like taking it off like a DVD or something like that. Some of the videos I don't have that luxury because I told Tori when I talked to him the other day that one of my videos, Scratch, I recorded over both masters somehow. So, I have to go through, get them off like VHS or whatever. But anyway, I start with a decent resolution original. And then I take it in DaVinci. I use DaVinci Resolve Pro. So that's like the paid version. DaVinci Resolve, what's it called? DaVinci Resolve, right? Yeah. Do you guys use that, DaVinci Resolve? So DaVinci Resolve is like a really good editing software, and they have a free version which has most things on it that you need to do for any sort of editing, but the pro version is even better, and it does some upscaling. It does a lot of color correction. It started as a color correction application and moved to like video editing, and it's like they use a lot in like movies and stuff like that. And I got this speed editor, and it was $299. It came with a free pro version, or you could buy pro and it's $299. So it was better to get the speed editor with it. So anyway, I use that, and I can use that to upscale. That's one of the programs I can use to upscale. So I just put it into Timeline and export it, and it automatically like scales it to 1080p. Or I use Handbrake. Are you familiar with Handbrake?
Yeah, I love Handbrake.
So Handbrake's a free application. Doesn't cost anything, and it converts any type of video file to any type of video file and upscales. And it de-interlaces really well. So if you have a 480p, VHS video or high 8 that's interlaced, it de-interlaces it really well. And then I have another video application. It's called Topaz Video Enhance. And
I was playing with that this week, and it does a really good job.
Yeah, it can enhance up to 4K, except when you're starting with a low, like a 480p stuff, looks more like it's painted.
Okay, so like too much sharpening.
It out. It's like looks more like a painting. So if you have a really high, like it's the best for like 720 to like HD 720 to like 4K or something. You can go 480 to 1080, but I feel like it takes a long time to render. Is one thing. You have to have
a very long time to render.
You have to have your operating system like up, like the newest version of your operating system and everything for it to run fast. I didn't have my operating system updated properly when I first had it, and it took forever to render. When I updated my operating system, it went like 10 times faster. So that's one thing that might speed it up. But those are the three things I use for upscaling. Handbrake's the easiest. Anyone can use it because it's free, and it does a good job. So I recommend Handbrake for anyone watching this who wants to upscale their old videos.
I recommend Handbrake in general. It's so convenient.
Max Power is Ray Soto. So Ray Soto is a legendary Texas rollerblader. Been around for a long time. He's actually from South Texas. I don't know if he lives in Austin now. You said you just met him there, or maybe he was just up there for the premiere. But he's a OG Texas blader. And Alex, going back to the skiing, snowboarding, Alex, when I was a kid, I just thought snowboarding looked cooler and had more style swag, so I just stuck with that. And when I first saw snowboarding, I kind of agreed. I thought it was really cool, in the 90s, 2000s when it was kind of fresh. Now I kind of dig skiing more because I did snowboard 2 seasons in California with John Elliott and Shima, and back in those days. I don't know if you ever saw the old video of Happy skiing.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
So that was like they all switched to skiing, except me because I couldn't afford skis. And Happy,
I'd like to ski. The cost of entry is pretty high. I feel
it is.
Skiing.
It is, but if you live somewhere like where I live in ski country, you can find skis at thrift stores all day long, so you can get in kind of cheap.
Good point.
And if you're local, then local passes are pretty cheap, relatively, But it's definitely an expensive sport to get into. And we've got a super chat from Wax Nostalgic, thank you very much for the super chat. For Jan, after watching United Front 2, how do you choose your music? Does the skating editing process lead you there, or do you choose the music and make the speed and cadence of the sections match? For United Front 2, it was the music first. I mean, I filmed everything, but I had songs I wanted to use, and I laid out the songs and then edited and then laid out the clips to the music. So, that video was very heavily edited with all the colors and electronic music and electroclash style. And I went really wild with it. And it was all edited to the music. So the music was the priority. Some of the sections didn't even have skate audio to it because I was trying to match the skating with the music more. Looking back, I kind of like skate audio sounds now. I would have probably added them then, so yeah. Let me see. Does
Jan, so how about for the people with their profiles? How much do they have input with their songs?
Typically back then, not much, because a lot of them weren't so much into music, or if they were into music, it wasn't very cool music, right? I mean, some people had suggested songs for their profiles. For Damian Wilson's section, I used that New Order song, which some guy told me yesterday is that was the first time he ever heard New Order change his life. And I remember using that song for Damian, and Damian wasn't really a New Order dude, and I remember Sean Santamaria being really upset that I used that song for Damian. I think maybe he wanted that song for himself, but also he didn't feel like Damian was worthy of New Order. But typically I try to pick music that I think works well with the skating of the skater. And of course, there's been some songs looking back that I don't necessarily like as much now. But I feel like most of the songs work pretty well with the skaters I picked them for. Especially when you moved out to later videos Vicious Sleeves, where everybody on the team was pretty punk rock anyway, so it's not that hard to pick music for them, or the Nim video. I think Haffy was somebody who was a little bit more picky with music. For leading the blind section, we had to go through actually find a song that he agreed on,
And did you show people their edits, or did they just see it when they're done?
Typically, if people lived in San Diego, then they would come over during the editing process and see what's going on. But other than that, for people who were, weren't living there, we didn't send them. It wasn't that easy.
I guess at the time it wasn't. Yeah, there's no.
Back then you would have had to send a tape, right. And have them watch it. It wasn't you could just send it on. You would do like we're doing now.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's I've been editing. I've been editing some more little videos because I've been doing the Vault series, logging all the footage, and then I export all the good clips from those episodes and I name them all and I put them in a folder. So eventually I can make a best of video and edit a whole new video with all the best footage from all the videos. So get the best of the best clips, with the skate sounds and everything is my idea. It's going to take quite a while. And what I really want to do is someone like Jason Howard. So I have a video that I've been filming for 10 years now. It's even when I was up in Chicago, that same video, basically. And there's a lot of footage, and hopefully it's going to be out for Christmas. But that's one reason I started doing this, editing these videos and stuff, and doing the YouTube, is to practice again editing, and remastering some of the old videos I remastered. Last call, I actually re-edited them a little bit because I wasn't happy with the intro or some of the clips I used in between the non-skating clips. So I changed that, which that one's coming up soon. But I'm on a tangent now. I lost what I was talking about. What was I talking about, Ben?
You're talking about the video, but before that,
we were talking about music and
music.
Oh yeah,
editing, sharing the. Yeah.
So anyway, this new video is coming out. Oh, what I wanted to say is, people like Jason Howard, who has a full section in this new video, and I have footage from the 90s. Like I want to, once everything's logged, I want to do like a retrospective type video, like, you know, Jason Howard, 20 years of blading type of video, which would be really cool because I have so much footage from his entire life skating.
It'll be the 1 hour mark in 8 seconds. Fly. I'm just like the timekeeper right now. That's my only real job. So just making sure we stay on time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
I'm totally kidding.
When's your guys' bedtime?
Man, I'm good, dog. I'm a vampire.
Okay, I'm gonna go through this live chat. Sean Michelson asked what happened to Dustin Jones. I think I mentioned earlier, he quit, and I believe he's a doctor now, something like that.
Quitter.
Yeah.
Respectable life without a.
Yeah. Staying
We got
healthy.
truthfinder.uk. Can I join in your live stream?
Well, then look at the follow-up comment on there too.
I have more security in your channel. Anybody know who this guy is?
Yeah, I was gonna look him up actually.
I mean, I'm kind of curious. Truthfinder.
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can find him.
That's funny.
I'll find him if you want.
If there are any blade conspiracies out there, that'd be fun content.
Okay, Sean Michelson. This goes back to the Razors Blitz tour. He asks how pissed was Andy that the RV got trashed. So on the Blitz tour, I had mentioned this in the Tory podcast a couple days ago. The RV received a lot of damage because we had way too many people sleeping in there, right? So there's a lot of, just like damage, blinds, the doors getting smashed, the awning breaking up. The awning got broken off in a toll booth in New Jersey. The bumper got kind of ripped off in New York. Like it got a lot of damage. It was like $14,000 or something, and Andy was really pissed. Yeah, he took it back to the RV place with the guy from Airborne, Farnan, and Andy was upset, but that was the end of it.
I do have a question about the tour, or back on it. So how did like the routing go? Like, who decided like where you guys are gonna go? Or do you just kind of wing things?
So the Razors tour was 4 Razors. So it was Jeff Akers organized the whole tour. So we went to different skate parks and different shops and did demos, and the whole thing was planned by Jeff Akers.
Mm-hmm.
One day,
the usual
for that tour,
tour,
it's the only type of tour I've really been on like that. It was like a company tour that was like for doing demos. All the other tours I've been on were more for filming, right? Like filming tours. What did you find, Ben?
I'm sorry. If you want to share my screen, you can, and I'll. I'm sorry.
All right.
I've been doing some investigative work here. So he is a pretty big channel.
Oh, yeah.
So let's definitely invite him on. And also, you mentioned the RV. You were saying something.
You may have seen a few people test Flex Seal on a bucket.
That's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage.
Sorry, I was trying to be funny. We'll leave it.
So I just made a Flex Seal video actually, because I have another YouTube channel called Vermonting, which I haven't been focusing on. But I have one of those teal like car toppers that I use for my skiing in the winter. And 2 seasons ago, we backed out of garage without opening the door all the way. It kind of peeled off the top of it a little bit.
Oh.
So I fixed it finally with Flex Seal, a heat gun and Flex Seal, and that shit works really good. Have you used that stuff before?
Dude,
I'd like the aerosol version. And I made a video, and that's going to come out soon on my Vermonting YouTube channel. Yeah. So, Joey Rolls, any experience with the UK scene? Ever go over there? You guys, either one of you been to UK?
No, I just know about
Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, no, I just know about the viral YouTube channel Truthfinder UK.
That's
it.
So my only experience with the UK was when I was over there when I was filming the video Last Call, which was in 1999. I went to London and I filmed with Leon Humphreys. It was the first video he was in. It was Last Call. And I filmed and I judged the English Nationals at PlayStation Skate Park with Chris Peel. And Chris Peel was the first person I interviewed on this podcast, on this channel. And he was the artist for Daily Bread, DNA Magazine. And anyway, I met him there. So that's my only time was in 1999 in London. It was crazy. It was like skaters from all over the UK and I could only understand like 25% of them because all of them had such different accents. You know, some of the accents were so mind blowing. I'm just like listening, like I can't understand a word they're saying, even though it's English. You know,
right? None of it. Yeah.
Same thing happened when we were in Scotland. Well, actually, Scotland's part of UK, so I guess 5 years ago, me and my friend Jerry went to Scotland to visit. What's his name? Who was the Scottish skater? Rode for Razors. Chad Sands. We met up with Chad Sands at Unit 23 skate park, and that was really cool. Really cool park. And same thing. Some of the people there were I could understand really well, or I could understand them at all. So
right, you just kind of smile and nod, like, yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Then we went to Edinburgh too, which was really cool. All right.
Oh, before I forget, do you think Flex Seal would make for a good skate?
For a good skate, you could probably
make a skate out of Flex Seal.
You could probably do it if you made some sort of mold with something. Right. You could Flex Seal it. Yeah, you could probably like
cardboard and Flex Seal.
You could probably do like paper mache and then Flex Seal it or something, and then burn out the paper.
I mean, what if you just sprayed?
All right.
Yeah, like what if you sprayed? You had some kind of barrier in a 909 boot, and then sprayed Flex Seal in the boot somehow. I don't know if that's even feasible, and then peeled it off. I don't know.
I don't think it would peel off. I think if you made a little skeleton or some sort, I don't know. That's something you have to play with. It's fun. Just be careful. Wear your mask and a respirator and some goggles. This shit is very fumey. We have a lot of Yoo-hoo love on this channel.
Good. Thank God.
I don't think I've had a Yoo-hoo since like I don't know. I think I've only ever had one once.
We got Austin Paz in the chat, Jump Street Podcast.
Oh.
He's way at the bottom. I'm sorry. I'm just being
I'm going slow. I'm slow. I'm going
slow
on this.
Dude, thing. I do the same thing.
All right, let's jump down. Wax Nostalgic. One more super chat. Who was the hardest skater to film with?
Brandon came.
I have to say, hard. Like there's like hard, easy. So Andrew Broom is hard to film with because sometimes it takes him forever to do stuff. I mean, forever. But sometimes he does stuff first try, right?
He do some ridiculous lottery tricks.
Is it part of him being a perfectionist, or is that not a part of it?
No, it's not part of it. No, it's not like it's not okay. So I've filmed people in the past where it's like they land a trick and you're like, that looks really good, and they're not happy with it, and they'll do it 10 more times, but every time looks really good. And the one they like the most doesn't really look too much different from all the other ones they did, but like they weren't happy with those. And it's not that like Andrew is a perfectionist. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
It's that he couldn't do the trick.
Yeah.
You know? Or he could do it. It just took a long time. Just because obviously it's a hard trick. He does hard stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, he can also do stuff first try. Like he's really good. And so he's not necessarily the hardest skater to film with. It's just, I've spent a lot of time filming with him. And people like going with Robert Guerrero and Haffey, like when they did that one reel that I showed you before, the half cap sole and the kink that Robert Guerrero did in Beightol. And we went there with Chris Haffey, like, I don't know, 4 times, and we were for 3 hours each time, and no one ever did it until the 4th time. That was hard. I mean, it's not really hard. It's just like painstakingly it's just sitting around. I think the hardest filming is when you actually have to in California, a lot of schools have fences around them. So you actually have to climb big fences. So the hardest filming would be I think for me it would be all those ones where you had to climb fences, and then the cops would show up and then you would get trespassing tickets. And we had so many trespassing infractions living in California because you have to climb the fences. And in Texas, there's some fences. Not most schools don't really have them. Some of the new schools do. But in Texas, the fences are great because they have, when you go to the gate, they have a little door and you can hit the door and it just opens. You can always just reach around and open it. They got like a 12-foot fence around the whole thing, but you can just reach around and open the door. I always find that ridiculous. But let me see. Else hard to film with.
Who was the most like critical? Like,
I guess Jason Howard
was right.
was hard. It was hard to film with sometimes just because he would get injured. I don't know if it's really hard, but maybe frustrating. You would get hurt, and then you'd have to wait a while to film again. What was your question, Tree?
Oh, who was like the most like critical of their skating? Like they had to get everything just right.
Well, I feel like Shima, Haffey, Broskow, Farmer, in that era, were super critical of their skating. I feel like the people I skate with in a modern era, it's like, Broom is very critical. Mason Richard, also very critical.
See that?
Definitely. I feel like back in the day, most people were pretty critical on their skating just because they were so competitive between each other, especially those people I mentioned, like Haffey, Broskow, Don Bambrick. Like, they're all very critical of their skating.
Was Lyle pretty critical or no?
They were Lyle and like the Santee guys, they definitely weren't. No one was like doing stuff sloppy, right? So everyone was critical to the point where they're gonna make everything perfect, right? But those guys were just critical of everything, of each other. Like they talked a lot of shit back and forth, and they pushed themselves really hard because they did egg each other on quite a bit. So it wasn't really like positive reinforcement, but it was like it was reinforcement, like,
I mean, whatever works, because those guys absolutely threw down, man. I love watching those dudes.
And shout out to Davey Wilson. He is a fucking beast.
AMD asked, who yelled the loudest because they missed a trick? I'm kind of curious about that one.
Ooh.
Who yelled the loudest because they missed a trick?
No. Well,
Haffey yelled quite a bit. Let me see. Also about going back to Andrew Broom. Robert Zabranic from Texas. Rob Z. You ever meet him?
I never met him, but I remember seeing his name a bunch of times.
He's really good. That guy.
I think for me,
he's a yeller.
Fit, yeah.
I'm a yeller.
For me, it was Ron Copeland, surprisingly. And he didn't do it often, but when he would get upset, he would let everybody around know that he was not happy.
It's just some of those memories are hard. It's hard to remember. I've seen that though watching who would get okay. If I'm going to go back to someone who's really critical, really, really, really critical on their skating, would have been Dustin Halloran. He was very critical on his skating, and he talked a lot of shit to himself, and he made a lot of noises. He did a lot of grunting, and he like psyched himself up. Like he motivated himself by talking shit to himself. And this is something I only remember because I've been logging so many tapes with him on it. And like, I literally like had to cut out all the grunts and like noises he made just because they were too much. But I left some of them in like the vault sections that have come on the show already. There's some vault episodes with Dustin Halloran, and you can hear the grunts and you can hear the cussing, but most of it I trimmed out.
Do you know what he's doing now? Sorry, I'm terrible.
Halloran?
Yeah.
I think he's still skating, and last I heard, he was living in Kansas City.
He was at a ride a few years ago. I don't remember if he was skating or not, but it was like 5 or 6 years ago he went to a riot.
Oh, word. Sick.
All right, let's go. It's just one question real quick from a while back. What's everyone's favorite setup right now? I'll go first. I like the two setups from skating, which is the Icon AG10 on the Wizard PR80s and the Icon AG20 with the wish frames. Ben.
I'll go grab mine.
Factions.
You know what? Like, it's going to be worth it just to... Well, I'm going to give Tree a second. But yeah, factions. Factions that actually fit. Size 10. They're perfect. Great originals. I've skated them one time. China wire stall. Pro frames. Absolutely infatuated with this setup. Period. No other way to put it. And then, I mean, just whatever wheels I can muster, right? I got these from Carriers. Got these from Atomic Carriers. These were like his throwaway wheels. And then I don't even know what anti-rockers these are. Shout out Ronnie, local skater here. He gave these to me. So anyway,
sure.
favorite setup.
Entry.
There, what we talked about earlier. The K2 Beta 6.1.
Sick.
So much
They
fun.
look fresh, dude.
That's awesome.
Best $3 I ever spent.
What size are the wheels again?
They're 8. Oh man, camera. How do you work here? There we go. They're 84 in the back and 80 in the front.
Oh,
those are really
interesting.
Cool.
But man, they're just.
I got a pair of Flying Eagle skates at the thrift store that were brand new. Someone had buckled them and couldn't figure out how to unbuckle them, so they just cut the buckles down the middle and donated them to the thrift store. So I got those, and I got them home, and I didn't realize the buckles were cut until I got home. So I emailed Flying Eagle, and they mailed me new buckles. So it worked out pretty good.
That's just a user error. Skates are broken and don't work. They're a one-time use skate.
And then I sold them on eBay. So it worked out. It was a win-win. Mike McFly, Jan, I love the alternate halfy cut on the Leading the Blind DVD with the Dresden Dolls track. That is a good one. There's an other halfy cut to Flock of Seagulls, which I'll put on the channel as well from the same section that no one has seen, I don't believe.
Well, that gives me a question. If you were to re-edit a section that you're not exactly happy with that came out, is there any that come to mind?
Dude, best question.
What was that? Sorry.
Are there any sections that like you're not exactly happy about the edit? Looking back at them, like would you re-edit them?
There's some sections looking back where like the music, maybe this I didn't like the song, or I didn't like how I cut the music out, but the only way I could re-edit most of those would be without music, because I just have to recut from the tape, because I don't have the originals. I don't have all the original footage for everything, so I couldn't technically re-edit everything.
There are programs that can like take out music from video and just isolate the non-music things. I don't know.
No. That's what I was saying. I was saying I would have to re-edit it without any like skate clips. Yeah, I mean without the skate audio. I would have to take away.
Saying like it might be possible, like using modern day technology.
I mean, Audacity can take out like noises and stuff, but not separate the tracks.
I've seen some things. If I figure it out, I will forward that information to you.
What's going on, Ben? I see you.
I'm sorry. I'm just trolling through the comments. I saw Austin. He said, "Put the factions down, Ben." I'm just scrolling through the comments.
What's Austin doing? Should we get Austin on here too?
We should, man. He jumped on my live stream the other night, man. It was fantastic.
The quad
so, I mean, if that means I need to dip out and you guys get Austin on, I'm more than willing to do that. So let me know.
All right, keep see if you see Austin on there. I'm looking up at the higher comments. Did you know Blake Levitt in San Diego from 2002? He was a fellow VT street skater from the late 90s era. I was there in 2000, 2004. The name doesn't ring a bell, but that doesn't mean I didn't meet him. There's a lot of skaters in San Diego in that era, though, so I didn't cross all of them. And we did spend a lot of time, too, filming. It wasn't like we were out sessioning with people all the time. We were out, like, skate missions more. Even though John and I did try to do some group skate nights back then to get the scene united a little bit. We used to do Seaport Village and J Street Ledges. We would do barbecues and stuff like that.
Speaking of San Diego, do you have any spot recommendations for? I'm going to be staying in San Diego for Blade Cup, so
Dallas Kink.
I want to hit Dallas Kink, but I can't think like San Diego is one of those cities. Like if I saw the spot, I'd be like, I think that might be San Diego, but like I know there's so many spots.
Well, the problem with San Diego is so many spots have been capped, right? It started back in the early 2000s with Daily Bread. With Daily Bread, what they would do is, because San Diego was a skate mecca, because Daily Bread was there. Everyone wanted to be in Daily Bread, so everyone would come to San Diego, and Daily Bread would name the the name. They would put the name of the spot in the photo. So if there's a photo at a spot, they would say this is at this school, this is at this place, so everyone knew where they were. And a lot of spots in San Diego, you could only skate maybe after hours on the weekends. So we were pretty careful, but people visiting didn't care. They just want to skate them. So a lot of those spots from the early days are capped. A lot of them. So I don't know what's capped and not capped because it's been, I mean, last one was in San Diego, it was 2016, which was funny because I actually took some locals 2 spots that they didn't know how to get to because, I found every spot out there pretty much just driving around. And I still remembered how to get to a lot of them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you look back to some old videos and you have questions on spots, I could, link you. Do you know Steve Steinmetz?
Yes.
I
know of him at least.
So he's the spot master. He knows every spot in San Diego. So if you have any questions on spots, he can tell you how to get there. He's who I use when I don't remember the name of a school. When I go through the vault series, that's who I talk to. He fills in gaps.
Someone's saying the Noble Experiment. Is that a thing?
The what?
Be sure to hit the Noble Experiment. Do you know what that is?
I'm not sure what that is. Let me get further down in the list.
Steve Steinmetz?
Steve Steinmetz.
Yeah, I've seen him on Instagram a lot, so that's good to know. Probably gonna hit him up next time I'm in SoCal.
Question about, since we're talking about Texas dudes, I feel like Chris Fleener should have been bigger than he is. And did you get to skate with him much?
So Chris Fleener is someone I've known since he was like 14 years old.
Wow.
We spent like, my original crew in Austin, I'm like kind of lucky, and it's kind of cool because most of the people I started skating with still skate today, like Jason Howard and Jared McBay and Ant Medina and like Shannon Rogers, Frank Stoner, like all these, a bunch of people from my original crew, they're all still skate, and even like people like Mason and Beefree, they were little kids, at the tail end of like that 90s in Austin, and a lot of them still skate. What was your question? I lost myself.
Oh, I did. How often did you get skate with him, and how come he wasn't?
Oh, Chris Fleener.
He was so good.
So Chris Fleener, we would go to Houston to skate with him and John Farmer all the time. And I mean, he turned. I was with him when we went to New Orleans when he turned ASA pro. Remember his dad took us out all to eat like a really nice dinner. It was like $1,000 or something ridiculous. All the Austin kids and the Houston kids. And Jason Howard moved to Houston, and him and Jason had a skate shop together called Connections. Do you remember that shop?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, so Chris and Jason own that shop. I mean, he skated for K2. He toured with K2. He toured with Pat Lennon a lot. I feel like he had he got out there fairly well, with K2 and everything. Why he wasn't bigger, I don't know. I mean, he came to San Diego. He did get hurt a few times when he came out to San Diego to like get in the Daily Bread and stuff like that. He did get hurt on some of those trips, and that could be a big deciding factor, for somebody at that time period to advance if they're not getting the coverage because they're injured or something.
Did he ever have a profile? I can't remember any.
Yeah, he had a section in Last Call. He had a shared section in Last Call, which I'm going to be putting up next week with Jochen Schmuda, Andreas Mueller, and Steve Tonnen from Holland. He had sections in. Most of the sections would have been in just Texas videos.
Yeah, I feel like he should have had more.
Yeah, there was no real
national whatever.
Yeah, he didn't really, and he's skating. He's still skating. He's still good. Yeah, he lives in El Paso now, so that's why you don't really see much of him because his wife's from El Paso, so he moved there, and there's not a big skate scene, but he still blades. And him and Jason Howard skated all the time. I mean, there's a lot of Fleener tricks out there, but you're right. Can't recall any Fleener sections. There has to be some though. I don't think.
Michael Fly is saying there's a whole segment based on him in VG16.
That could be possible. I was kind of thinking there was something in VG. Did we get anything from Austin, Pat?
No, not that I saw.
All right.
No, I'm not seeing it.
So Let's see. What time is it right now? 9:24. I'm only at 9:10 on the live chat. Oh, I got one more thing, guys, to open up in the mail. So you're familiar with Jeremy Beightol, the artist?
Yep.
You know, he did 4x4 graphics, and he does the graphics for Chroma.
Was he involved with Heat? Who is he?
He did some Heat graphics. Yeah, he did some of the Heat graphics. Sayer Danforth did a lot of the graphics for Heat too, but Beightol did some Heat graphics. He did like the Ollie short wheel.
Yep.
He does the Chroma stuff. He did the new Master Blade wheel for Gumby. I don't know if you saw it. Just came out this week.
No.
Yeah, Gumby and Philip Moore both got pro wheels from Master Blade, from Kareem's company, and Jeremy did the graphic for that, and then he did all the Rat Tail 4x4 stuff. Anyway, I got this in the mail from Jeremy. It says, "Please do not bend." Let's see if this one's bent, just like the other one.
Right.
If you're just joining, I got the ends book from Miss Casals, and we opened it earlier, and it was completely bent. Sadly, this is here we go. All right, so Jeremy, this is really cool. If this was what I think it is. All right, yeah, this is what I think it is. Oh wow. So Jeremy just did a animated book. He illustrated an animated book called Outcast. And he sent me the book. And it's signed. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, right there.
Nice.
It says, "To Jan from Germany 2022." And it is just a graphic novel. Let me make myself a little bit bigger, if I can figure out how. There we go. So we got this graphic novel from Jeremy Beightol. I don't know what it's about. We see it for the first time, but lots of drawings from Jeremy Beightol, which is really cool. He sent me 2 of them. One of them signed, one was not. But what else was in there is a hand-drawn sketch from Jeremy, signed.
Oh, that's a lot of detail.
Yeah, so this is a one-of-a-kind sketch Jeremy Beightol included in this book he sent me. And
wow.
It's all done by pen. And that's really freaking cool. I'm going to have to get that framed. So I know Jeremy's not watching this, but I want to say thank you, Jeremy, very much. He did the shirt, so it's kind of like accompanying it a little bit, similar style. Very cool.
That'd be a cool shirt.
Yeah, I think so. All right, now we're back together again. Weirdest pre-hammer ritual I ever saw. You guys remember like like Roadhouse and all those guys when I used to do like stuff and like signal and stuff. That's I think the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That era of weird or like tapping your knee. And I know like Halloran used to do that, and Jason Howard used to do that too.
Well, you got the people who are like punching themselves and stuff too.
Oh yeah, like Rob Thompson and yeah. I mean, shoot, there was people. I remember some of those airborne comps, like, their pre-ritual was getting completely wasted. Like before doing a hammer. Like
who was?
Like Ben Weiss.
Get hammered before doing the hammer. Oh yeah.
Hammerception.
What's the weirdest rituals you guys saw anybody do?
Like the Midwest really wasn't very ritual based. We were just more of trying to do the trick, I feel.
Yeah, I never saw like in terms of a ritual, to me, ritual is something like you have to do every time, right? Before you, I don't know. I saw the typical like people slapping themselves in the face and stuff like that. But as far as rituals go, I don't know if I saw anything specific that I remember.
Oh, it would be me. I used to have this weird thing where like I just needed to not focus on anything, so I'd be like, that's my roommate filmer guy to be like, hey, just give me a random word, and he would just say like potato or something like that, and that would help me just clear my head to do a trick.
That works.
So that was probably the weirdest thing I mean,
I just noticed we had another legend in the chat. Scott
wow.
Crawford loved the mini at DB. So Daily Bread had a mini ramp. Actually, Daily Bread was in different locations. Their first location I visited when I visited California for the first time was it had a small, like 3-foot or 4-foot mini ramp with a very narrow deck. It's like super narrow. When I worked at Daily Bread, they had a mini ramp that was like it's like an 8-foot mini, but it was only like 16 feet wide. So it was like not quite as wide as it should have been, but it could only fit in that space. And that was a pretty cool ramp. I don't know. I'm sure people saw it in old videos. Did you ever see it, Tree? The old Daily Bread
I think
ramp?
I recall it. Yeah, yeah.
Was some stuff on there.
That was in the videos.
Yeah.
Like the credits or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So Scott Crawford skated that, and legend, welcome to the chat. Cool to see you here.
Is that the one they lit on fire? No, that was in the fiction video.
Dude, the fiction ramp. There's a fiction ramp in a fiction warehouse. That was a fucking mini ramp. That was like 6 foot and like 24 feet wide, like the perfect, size mini ramp. That thing was so cool. Chris Garrett, and I was there with Chris Garrett and Kato, and Lonnie. It's when the same trip where we visited California. We stopped at the fiction warehouse, and it was unbelievable how big of a warehouse fiction, just a clothing brand, had back then.
That'd be money to have a warehouse like that in California, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, granted, 90s were cheaper times, but I mean, the Ratto warehouse we had a fairly good deal on it for the location. But now I hear they tore down the building of the Ratto warehouse and they're building some sort of like mini high rise there. And let me see. AMD says, hit up Logan Farwell too. He knows spots. Yeah, he's also from Texas and lives in California. He knows spots for sure.
Session out there.
I Rollerblading. Who has your favorite facial hair on the screen? Who's your favorite?
Yours, duh.
I like Jan.
What's
Jan,
that?
I feel like
very majestic.
Yours, Jan.
Mine?
It looks like a cat. It looks like just something I could just snuggle
like
up
lion,
with. No
like
homo
a lion's
here.
mane.
Yeah, like just something like makes me feel safe. I don't know, man.
Cool. Well,
I mean, Tree, no offense, bro. I love your.
You guys come nest if you're feeling insecure and lonely and sad. My beard's
It's just powerful, man. It's clearly a powerful beard.
It has a special glow to it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I like this one. Yeah, do you have any Dustin Latimer stories? Did you ever film him? I feel like he's such a mystery. Not a lot of stories out there.
I didn't really film with Latimer too much. Not really. Latimer hung out more with like Joe Navron and like the FP crew and stuff in Orange County. Him and Brian were friends back from the USD days. And the one real experience that I remember with Latimer was when he had a period where he wasn't like he was kind of doing a spiritual phase, and he wasn't talking for a year, and he was only like signing and writing stuff down. And that's when we went there for it was either 4x4 tour or a NIM tour. I think it was 4x4 tour in Phoenix, and we hung out with him, skated with him, but he didn't talk. He just like wrote stuff down and like signed the whole time. And I was like, I'd never experienced that before, but it was cool,
Super interesting. That was JT in the chat question, by the way. That's not mine. I can't take credit for that.
And Jan putting everyone on blast. Well, how bad?
I don't even remember what he might be referring to because it was, like 10 minutes ago, probably.
I was probably about, the who knows? We've been talking about a bunch of stuff. All right. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about?
More comfortable Jan's beard or tree snuggie.
Yeah.
Is it popular? This is a hooded blanket. Thank you very much. It's not a official snuggie. The Costco.
More comfortable Jan's beard or tree snuggie.
That's what I've been like just bursting at the seams to talk about this whole time because everyone's been commenting on how cozy Tree looks. And I just want to get the story. So it's a hooded blanket.
Well, it's hooded blanket because you can't, Snuggie's trademark, so it's Costco's version of a Snuggie.
My girlfriend.
It's cold. It's cold in Chicago, and
Does it have
love
pockets?
that.
I
She's
got
always
done with
cold.
work.
How
I
cold is
didn't
it?
expect to be on a stream tonight, so I was like, yeah, I'm just being comfy. It got to 39 this morning. So
Okay.
winter's
About the same.
picking
It's
up
about
there.
the same here.
Okay.
It got all the way down to like 82 this morning in San
Man.
Antonio. Yeah.
It's so cold. You're gonna be
I
okay.
mean, I'm like as
Jelly, I got my long sleeve on and everything.
I'm pretty much the same latitude
climate.
as you,
Yeah.
but in the mountains.
Jan, I want to know a little bit more. I'm being selfish right now, but I want to know a little bit more about the mysterious animal that is Lyle Shivak. Shivak. Like,
Yeah.
can you just? I asked about him a little bit earlier, but like, what? Can you just give me like a few high level points about that? Give me an insight to this person.
Well,
He's mysterious.
I mean,
because his skating inspires me.
He was really good. I mean, they grew. The Santee crew. They grew up in Santee, and if you're not familiar with Santee, Santee is a very it's a very kind of it's a suburb outside of San Diego. It's much hotter than San Diego. You're talking about like it was like 70 degrees in San Diego. It's like 90 in Santee. It's very conservative, lots of rednecks and lots of it's known for meth and all sorts of stuff. It's definitely has issues. So growing up there, it's definitely a different place to grow up compared to where we lived in San Diego. So those kids went through a lot. Like they went through the school shootings. Santana High School, Lyle and Damien were both going to school at Santana when they had the school shooting. If you guys remember that school shooting in San Diego, they were there, part of that. So there's like trauma with that. A week later, there was a school shooting at Nick Wood's school, Granite Hills. So they had a lot of just crazy shit to deal with living in Santee. So, and they're the product of that. So there was just a lot of I think back then they didn't have a lot going on except skating and getting really good at skating.
Sure.
And being very competitive. And I don't know, Lyle in particular, what went in his head, I just know that they all were trying to outdo each other, but they were all skated different, right? I mean, not one of them skated the same. Totally. Damien was all tech and kind of parkour, early kind of parkour stuff, like my Sheila Doe style. Nick was just throwing himself down, disastering all sorts of stuff, and Lyle was very tech, and then you had Jimmy and Robbie, and they were also good, but they weren't skating the same. And I'm not really sure. Lyle, Lyle lived with Damien for a little while, in high school, and then Lyle also spent time I think with his dad, from Vegas. So I'm not really sure. But I do know that Lyle should have been pro. He was one of the best to ever put on skates.
Was he
underrated?
More of a quiet person compared to the rest of the
crew? He was a lot more quiet. Yeah, he was definitely. Nick and Damien and Jimmy were way louder. He was a lot more reserved for sure. Let me see. One question here. Jan Beam from SD back in the day. Did all the SD crew ever make trips to TJ? We never went to TJ. The only time we ever went to TJ is when John Elliott's cat got run over by a car and we took it to the vet because the vet was cheaper.
Was that Tijuana?
Yeah, Tijuana. There was a lot of Tijuana, even now, a lot of violence and cartel stuff, and we just never wanted to go over there. But it's supposedly there's a good skate scene there, and they have a contest there now, and but we never went there to skate, even though it was just across the border. Zonder, Jan, who's the most professional skater to film and work with?
Tri-Rudolf.
I think well, back in the it depends, because back in the day, everybody was it was business blading, so everyone was like professional because it was a job. But like Shima and Haffy, definitely Broskow, because they would want to get stuff done and they want to go home. So it's like, go out there. We would notice spots. We wouldn't just drive around look for spots. We knew where we're going. We knew it was going to happen. So it was like, go there, do it, leave, go home. You feel like doing something else. So that was pretty professional on that end. And it was similar like that in Austin, even though it wasn't like for companies, but you kind of knew where we were going and what was going to happen. So, you had Broom and kind of going back to all the same people, but I feel like these were the people I filmed with the most. And they were all pretty professional. I can't say that anyone who wasn't really professional, it's possibly I filmed with a lot and they were like only trying to get into like a magazine and then quit or something like that. Like we saw that a lot in the Daily Bread era, where people were mainly skating so they could get in a Daily Bread or in a video, and then when they did that, you never saw them again.
I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah, it was. I could think of. There was a lot of people back then that did that. I had on some of these videos I post. Some people repost clips from them in like trash. They're like, had like 4 trips this video, never, and then quit skating after that.
I'm going to steal a question from you, Jan.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to steal one. I'm going to give you one to you, actually. You can only show one of the videos that you've created to a lay person. No more, no less, whatever. What video do you show them?
Only show one video?
To a lay person.
Like just a random person?
To a rando.
Like a normie?
Probably like Leading the Blind. I feel like Leading the Blind is just a go-to video to show anyone.
Yeah.
Leading the Blind, I think an example of Leading the Blind, there's a BMX shop in Austin called Empire. It was like it still is like one of the bigger BMX shops in the country. And, I was friends with BMXers back then. And I gave him Leading the Blind. After it came out and I went to Austin to visit my family, I gave him a copy of Leading the Blind. And BMXers like ate that video up. For years, I would go back to Austin, go to bars, talk to BMXer, and I'd say I'm a rollerblader. They're like, dude, have you seen this video called Leading the Blind? At Empire. Like Empire was just showing all of BMXers this video. So I think that's the perfect video to show random people. I don't necessarily random people because I don't think random people really care about skating to that extent. People who are into similar sports, like skateboarders or BMXers or parkour people, it's a video I would show them. A random person, after 5 minutes, they're gonna get bored anyway because they don't care about it.
I saw him slide down enough of these handrails.
I think I had to answer that question. I think either probably State of the Art or the Streets of Lagos.
Streets of Lagos is good.
I would show a non-skater.
The one, also the Burma one. The one that the same guy did Streets of Lagos did the one in Burma.
Blade Burma, yeah.
And that's also interesting, just because it's a documentary style,
Is that Dom West?
Like documentaries.
Dom West all day.
Yeah, Dom West. Let me see. Did he have a pro wheel? Somebody asked if Lyle had a pro wheel. I don't think Lyle had a pro anything. Which is shocking that he never had a pro wheel. But it's also like Gumby. He just got his first pro wheel from Masterblade. That dude's been killing since back in the day.
Yeah.
Never had a wheel. So, and he's been skating the whole time.
Yeah, he's never had a boot.
Yeah, so like a lot of people got passed up. It's just and back then I feel like there was not enough necessarily brands to support all the pros. And same thing now, so there's definitely people who have fallen through the cracks. And I feel like it's hard to promote. It's easier to promote yourself in one way with social media and stuff like that. But so many people can promote themselves on social media. Back in the day, you kind of created a legend or hero through advertising and marketing, through ads and video sections and edits. you created people that kids idolized, and now it's not the same now. Like you have people you like to watch on social media, but it's not like you don't have their photos on your wall and stuff like that, and like it's a little bit different, like the people who had wheels back then were like they had wheels and they had ads and magazines with a wheel, and you had all sorts of stuff, and they're still doing sections, like Stefan Brandau releases a wheel edit every time he has a wheel, which is really cool. But like seeing an ad of him in the magazine would be really cool too. Have it on your wall. Let me see. Any other questions happening in the chat? Leading blind is a solid choice. And Mike McFly says, I'd still in the shunt sticker section from United Front. Yeah, that's good. I mean, if I was going to show sections, I think also Robert Guerrero's section in Daily Bread 5 is one of my favorite sections. It's very like the music and his skating. It's just very good. And Wax and Jan, who up and coming would you like to film with now and why? Who from the back would you like to film with again? So anyone who rode for like Vicious and Nim, like Matty Schrock, Niels Janssens, like Mark Marino, all these people from back in the day, those are all people I like to film with, and I would like to film with more now. Obviously filming with people from back in the day. I mean, it would be fun to go film with like Sagona and Connor because they still skate, but it's obviously a different kind of filming because you're not like filming hammers for like a video section or something. But yeah, I mean, and then there's just some of the, I want to film with Dominic Bruce. Like I've only filmed with him on Big Rollerblade, so I never got to film with him. I'd like to film with Dominic and Martin Danning, the Mesmer guys, and let me see who else.
Bellino?
I filmed with Bellino. Yeah, I'd love to film with Bellino. I filmed with Bellino a bunch back in the day. And let me bring him back on. Oh, we've switched spots. You're back to now. So Bellino I'd love to film with again. And filming with him back in the day was really fun. And Joey Chase. I always enjoyed Joey Chase. I would film with him again. There's this new video that came out. God, I can't remember the name of it. It was a video where everyone in it was like 18. It came out like within the past 2 months, or they were all like very young. Did you see it?
It sounds familiar.
It's like all young skaters from around the world, from like Europe.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. Some of those kids seemed like they would be fun to film with because they were all just like young and good and hungry.
They're so good these days.
It's not so. I mean, it's this may be just silly, but like Tom Moist did a video on all the up and comers like globally. It's not that one, right?
No, it's no. This is like a video a kid from Germany made, and he picked like 10 kids from around the world that are like the same age, like 16 to 18.
Yeah, it's more like an edit, right?
And it's a full video. Everybody's got sections. Every person had a section in it.
Oh yeah, I mean more like an actual skate video now.
Yeah, it's an actual skate video, and I can't remember what it's called. Maybe somebody posted in here. So those are some up and comers I would like to film with. Let's see. What are you guys laughing at? What did I miss?
Shawn Michaelson.
Yeah. I saw that. I was laughing because I knew that's what you were laughing.
So yeah, posters. Posters are awesome. Mesmer did a poster, which they were going to send me and never did. I was sad about that.
It's interesting. I want to go back for a second because when Austin was on my live the other night, he mentioned something that made a lot of sense to me. Where it's like nowadays you have access to all your favorite skaters immediately, right now. Whereas before it was like you were an actual kind of movie star, where like movies came in the mail, and that's the only time you saw them, or in magazines. Magazines or movies. That was it. You didn't see them on your telephone. You didn't see them this and that. So it's just so fascinating because to your point, you mentioned this earlier where it's like, it's the whole kind of dynamic has changed so much.
I think they're just so much more accessible now,
Right, which is good. But at the same time, it's like I feel like we've lost some of that, like, you have the posters on the wall and you have this and the other, but they are also more accessible. So it's like a trade-off. I don't know.
It's just different, you know.
Yeah, it sort of lessens the value in a way.
In their own way, you know. I mean, modern times are. I mean, things change because they get better in a way. I mean, not everything gets better, but typically with technology and everything. I mean, just like making videos back in the day, like it was a process. You had to. Everything was expensive. Not too many people did it. Now anyone can make videos. Everything's so easy to use. Everything,
like next 5 seconds.
It's just user friendly. When I was first making videos, I used a VCR, a camera, and a tape player, and I would just like overdub, 2 VCRs and like the camera and put music on it through a tape player, like.
Same here.
And I don't even know how to do that anymore. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, I should try to make a video on doing that again because, like, I don't even remember how I did it.
It'd be a fun experiment.
So yeah, let me see. Someone just a question for me, Jan. Do you have any favorite filmmakers these days? Gregory Preston, Mike Torres, Butter TV, John Lee, Mark Marino. So much talent out there. I don't have any favorite filmmakers per se. Like I really love Dom West's work. He's very talented. Same with the guys, Benjamin Butner, the guys who did like the Champagne videos and stuff. And what are the videos called? I can't remember all the videos, but those guys are really good. And Johannes that did, he's really good. And all the guys you mentioned, Gregory Preston, Mike Torres, they're all good. I like watching all their stuff, and I like watching Anthony Medina's videos as well. And one of my favorite filmmakers, so Austin had a lot of people who made videos. Like there was me, you had Lana Gallegos, who made all the feet videos and stuff like that, and then you had Anthony Medina making videos, and another video maker was Jay Gurink, and he made some amazing videos out of Austin. Very more like art house videos, but amazing videos. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of his videos, but I have to have some links to his stuff in the description below for everybody to check out. But he definitely has everything on, I think, Vimeo.
Is it Eugen's brother that edits his sections? Because
Eugen's brother films and edits all
those are incredible, and they have so much character.
Those are good too.
Doesn't necessarily get the credit that deserves.
There's a lot of talented people out there. I see one thing I'm impressed with a lot of my peers from back then, like they've gone on to do work in like Hollywood and making professional camera people now, which is really cool. Watch like Vinnie Minton, all the stuff he's doing, and like Richard and Dave Payne, and everybody's doing Connor O'Brien. Like they're all doing some really cool things. To see that happening is really cool. And Torres, he does a lot of cool work outside of skating. I'm sure some of these other guys do as well. I mean, Butter TV is very talented. I'm sure he has a lot of work outside of skating. So yeah, I mean, everyone's really talented, and everyone has really nice. A lot of people have access to some really nice gear, which is one thing I don't have access to. Even through my early days of filming, I never had my own camera. I always borrowed a GL1 from somebody. Like I didn't have my own camera. Then when this new video I worked on, I used a Canon 7D DSLR, so it was a little weird because I didn't have like a zoom for it. And then in the past 3 years, mainly I film with my GoPro more, and now I just film everything with my iPhone 13 because it films so good. Like most of the videos I make are with the iPhone 13 now. For everything I do.
2 things. Didn't you weren't you using a 360 cam, Jan?
Yeah, I have the Insta360 1X2, and I use that for some things as well.
Yeah. And then 2, who was it? Just random curiosity because I don't remember who was behind Life Plus.
Life Plus was Drew Backrack.
Okay, yeah.
Corey Casey and Edwin Smalling were doing Life Plus, and then you had what's his name? He lives in Boston. James Reetsky as well. He was the East Coast correspondent. So mainly it was like Drew. It was like Drew and Corey were like, and then Edwin Smalling. Edwin Smalling was a skateboarder actually, and he worked for he was an artist at Black Box Distribution, which was like Zero Skateboards and stuff. But Edwin and Drew went to art school together in Chicago, to Art Institute, and they had a gallery in LA called Treehouse. So they always worked together. So that was during the time that Treehouse was active, is when Life Plus was active, and Life Plus was the first DVD video magazine. The 616 video that Drew made in Code, I think, was that the name of it? Well, it was like the first DVD to come out in skating, was Drew. And then Life Plus was like pretty much the next thing. Yeah. And that was at the time, like when I did Daily Bread 5, No One's Children, came out the same time as Razor Steal This Video, because Razor Steal This Video premiered on a Friday night at ASR Trade Show, and Daily Bread premiered Saturday night. So I had like 2 premieres, but one of them came out on VHS, which was Steal This Video, which was the last VHS video I ever made. And the Daily Bread video came out on DVD, which was the first DVD video I ever made. But they came out at the same time. So
that's pretty neat. The transition.
Yeah, it's like right at that transition between DVD and VHS. I do miss the DVDs. I like magazines, like the physical, products, like especially because all the art and design and stuff aspects was all lost with doing stuff like this. There's no, you can't have packaging or design. I mean, you can do like your thumbnails and stuff like that, but you lose a lot of that art.
I like the DVDs because, like, you had the extras, and you could actually have a hidden section that was actually hidden, because you can only hide a section on a VHS tape at the end of it. So I think there's a lot more room for Easter eggs and things like that with DVDs. I
mean, Life Plus did that. They had so many hidden sections that were like hard to find, because you had to do like left, right stuff.
Exactly.
So, like the PlayStation.
Man, Life Plus was amazing. I miss it, because I think it was a good time, because there's a lot of experimentation with both skating and editing at that time. So, I think that really just kind of pushed people to kind of get into that mindset. So I really miss that.
Yeah, definitely. And it was very artsy,
Yeah.
Call Me Blader Dad. Is there a market for print magazine with monthly or at least a biannual issues? Why or why not? I always thought it'd be cool to do an annual, like some sort of skating annual. And I mean, obviously you have magazine, you have one still, and you have these random ones that come out here and there, but nothing's regular, and everything's expensive. Magazines are expensive now. It used to be, you got magazines for like $3.95. Now they're like $15-20 for a magazine when they come out. And part of that's because the advertisers don't want to spend, companies don't want to spend money advertising. Used to charge a lot of money for ads in Daily Bread and Box, $10,000, $15,000 for like back cover stuff, Now it's hard to get $100 out of a company. So I don't think you're ever going to get that type of money out of companies. But the newsstand was, Daily Bread and BMag and Crazy Roller. I mean, they were national or internationally syndicated, distributed, massive newsstand distribution. You get them in every bookstore. You're in Europe. You go to every single train station, had a BMag and Crazy Roller. They were everywhere. Now it's like none of them are distributed. It's just they're kind of selling them direct to the skaters. What's going on, Ben? You've got some crazy eyes going on.
I always have crazy eyes. No, I just think it's cool. So like what Mick just put out, the book you were showcasing earlier, it's super cool to see people still putting in effort into physical products like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I really like the book thing. I know those guys, they did it with Champagne first. They kind of started with doing the books like Dominic Wagner, all of his photo books he did with those videos. And obviously, like the ones I showed you, the Candy book and the Ends book, which is damaged. I like those. And some books did come out earlier on. There was an Italian one called Wasteland that came out in probably around 2006, which I have somewhere here. But I do like the books a lot. I think that coming with a video is rad. It's almost even cooler than having a DVD, because sometimes DVDs had little booklets, inserts, but having a book I think it's cooler because books like you can just put in your shelf or your table and
you have it forever.
You know, it's rad. I'm tell you what, I'm still bummed about this book being all messed up. All right. Anyway,
What would be cool to have would be I used to have a flip book of like Aaron Feinberg.
Mm-hmm.
It was just him doing one trick, but like I had it like a freshman year, and like I would flip that thing. I think I flipped it until like the pages actually started to fall out. But it was a pretty cool concept because it was like, you know, just like basically one clip in a little pocket form.
So I'm sorry to interrupt again here, but I have a very important question for both of you.
About what are you gonna?
What do you? Why is sick kind grind? No, I'm kidding. That was my favorite question I've ever heard, by the way, Tree. What is everyone being for Halloween? Shout out in the chat. What are you gonna be for Halloween? And then Tree and Jan, what are you being for Halloween?
I'm not gonna be anything for Halloween because I don't have anywhere to go for Halloween. I live in the middle of nowhere and I don't know anybody. So, you know, if I was in Austin or San Diego still, I would do something for Halloween. But, you know,
I'm not confident that I'm going to do anything. Tree, what are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything. I'm too lazy. But if
you're not going to make a cool Halloween reel?
Well, what would honestly probably happen is I would just wear boxing skate in it. But ideally, my Halloween costume would be a Lopan costume from Big Trouble in Little China.
That sounds very nice.
That's a lot of work.
I'm going to pretend like I understand the words that you just said.
You've never seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Big Trouble in Little China? No, I haven't. Sorry.
I'm going to say, so Shawn Michelson mentions V3000. He was also part of Life Plus. Mm-hmm. Samuel Yim. Now, I really want to thank you, Sean, because I've been trying to figure out what V3000's real name is for like months.
I never knew that.
And now I know it. So thank you very much. Even Rob G couldn't remember. Jan, have you tried any of the moment lenses for iPhone 13? I have not. I haven't even heard of them, and I will look them up. Thank you. What's the funny one now, Ben?
I'm sorry. Sean says he's gonna be lonely for Halloween. I'm sorry.
This is for you, Ben. How spoils Daniel? He had a GL1 when Jan didn't.
Yeah, so we filmed our little local film Hooliganish. He had his GL1 and I left it in my car. So I borrowed it. I don't know if you saw the Instagram clip that got posted recently, but I did we'll call it a hurricane sweat stance down a stair rail or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And that day that my brother and I drug my brother out to film me doing that. I'm like, I can do this. I think I saw Brandon Camp. I saw someone do it. I'm like, fuck it, I can do this. And so I drug my brother out to this stair rail, this curved like 12 sloping stair rail, and I tried this hurricane sweat stance. Again, I'm going to call it a hurricane sweat stance to make it sound cooler. But did the sweat stance, and I'm pretty sure I left his GL, what is it, 2? What do you say, 2? GL2? In the trunk in Florida weather, North Florida weather, and it like got too hot, and I think it messed up the camera. And so I'm pretty sure he still hates my guts to this day.
Oh, man.
I messed up his camera, but I got the clip, so that's what's important. I
had one camera. So speaking of messing up cameras, I've only had one incident with a camera getting hit, and that was on tour. Was it? I think it was the Razors tour for Stills Video. Jeff Stockwell. It's in the Stills video. Jeff Stockwell does like a Luke Kane 540 over a hip in Pismo Beach and kicks the lens of the GL2, and I believe it was Chris Majet's GL2 that the Casals were borrowing. And he kicks the lens in the front of the housing of the GL2 and the Century Optics 0.5 break off, flies through the air. And this skate park's pretty busy, and it's like everyone goes silent. It's like slow motion. You see the lens just flying in the dark, like through the lights, hits the transition on the other side and like rolls. The whole thing was slow motion. It was it was crazy. Like the lens didn't get scratched. We stuck it back on and just duct taped it, and it worked. But definitely, it was like damaged, which was unfortunate. We had one incident with cameras in the car. They didn't get damaged, but we took Lonnie Gallegos' mom's car to Dallas. We parked in Deep Ellum, and we got back to it was wintertime. We got back to the car, and someone had smashed out the windows to steal everything inside the car, but they didn't open the trunk, and the trunk was full of everyone's camera stuff. So luckily they didn't steal the stuff, but it was winter, and we drove back to Austin with no window, and it was snowing from Dallas to Austin. So like one of those few Texas snows.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love them.
Alondra says Hermanos book. That's a good one too. There's a lot of books. I think the books are really cool collector's items, and they don't make a lot of them. And Mick has he didn't make very many, and they haven't really sold very well. They've sold okay, but I definitely need to hit him back up and get another book because that one's all messed up. So who's gonna be you for Halloween, Ben? Mike, you're gonna be in Oklahoma City for Halloween.
That's the plan.
So you're gonna have all new friends out there. You can go with A-Rock, go out Halloween.
Yeah. We'll get in all kinds of trouble. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Subscribe.
And and if make sure, I'm sure everybody here is following you guys on social media and YouTube, but you guys want to shout out your channels, what they are, and where to find you.
Treat.
You can reach me at Back to Blading on the YouTubes. And, okay. I don't care. Go ahead, Ben.
You can see, the comments up, but you can see on my name, it's iRollerboot. So if you just search iRollerboot, if you're not already check out my channel, if you like it, then consider subscribing.
Cool. Well, I think we've been on here for 2 hours plus. So I was thinking we should wrap it up. If there's any last questions.
I got a last one for you, Jan.
What's that?
I got a last one for you.
Okay.
I already gave Ben this one. So, what would you do if you were teleported to Los Angeles circa 1994 with all your knowledge and skills that you have currently?
I would get a lot done. That's for sure. With all the stuff I learned and learning from mistakes of the past, I would run this shit out there. Now, back then, no.
I think probably most people probably could.
Yeah, well, it's
just
same thing. It's if you went back to school knowing what you know now,
right?
Obviously,
everything.
You look back, you're you wish you would have known that. But yeah, if I knew what I knew now, going back to LA in 1994, probably work in Hollywood doing something, while doing skating stuff. And let's see, any other questions from the group chat? Buy some Bitcoin. You guys have any Bitcoin?
No, I got in on the damn
Dogcoin?
One of those damn scam coins. I got. I can't remember which one it was, but
there's a couple of bladers who got Bitcoin rich. They were early in that Bitcoin craze.
I saw a dude here in San Antonio the other day. I was coming out of the UPS shipping out prizes from the live stream, and I saw a guy get out of a Lamborghini Urus, the Lamborghini SUVs, and he was wearing a shirt that said, "I am a dope." What was it? A Shiba coin millionaire. Holy cow! This dude really bought this Lamborghini off a Shiba coin or whatever the hell it is.
That's funny.
Anyway,
it could have been rented.
Probably bullshitting you.
I know, right?
All right. Well, any of you all go in the ramping camp? Schmitty's ramping camp.
There.
I sure wish. I might take the train up there from Oklahoma.
That's a good.
Wait, Tree, you're going?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man, I gotta go now.
What about Bitter Cold? Are you guys going to that?
Or I could pick you up if you go to Indy or Chicago would be easier.
You guys gonna go to Bitter Cold?
Oh yeah, of course.
Ben?
Wait, Tree, you are going to Bitter Cold?
He said, of course.
It's not far from me. It's Detroit.
Wait, what am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking
Bitter Cold's
of Winter
in February.
Clash.
Yeah, Winter Clash.
I'm thinking of Winter Clash. I'm sorry, I'm losing my
We
mind.
should go to Winter Clash.
bitter cold. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm certainly going to try. Now that I'm a little bit more north, when I say I will be a little bit more north up in OKC. So, well, I'm going to do my very best to make the ramping camp in. Is it November? I'm gonna have to look again, but
it's next weekend.
It's next weekend.
You're moving and stuff. Yeah, it's next weekend.
Oh shit! I thought it was in a couple weeks. Yeah.
I won't be there.
Yeah, I won't be able to make that one next time. Shite. I'm sorry. Where is bitter cold?
Bitter cold's in Detroit or Michigan, not in
okay.
Detroit, but in
I'm trying to make that one.
Yeah.
Is that's inside though, Tree, right?
Yeah, it's indoors.
Yeah, it's inside. And it's gonna be in modern skate park.
February.
I'm a Texas / Florida dude. I need to be inside when it's cold. You know what I'm saying? So. Anyway, that's all I got. All
right. Well, okay. Mike McFly. One last thing. Jan, can you try grind a handrail for us? Probably not now with my broken back and bad body, but you can see clips of me doing it back in the day on my Instagram page. Not like these two guys. Tree's like rail master.
I can't do rails.
I've seen you doing it.
I saw you do a kink drill just a couple weeks ago, Tree. Let's not even start.
I don't like doing rails. I don't like jumping.
You said I can't. It's shifted.
I like it once I'm on. I like it when I'm on the rail, but I don't like getting on the rail. That's when the bad things happen.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, guys, I think you guys ready to wrap it up?
I think so.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody who's been in live chat for joining us tonight, and anyone who's watching this post live stream. Thank you for watching this for 2 hours and listening to us bullshit. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload new content. And follow Ben iRollerboot on YouTube and Instagram. And Tree has an Instagram too.
And become patrons on the Patreon.
There's Patreon pages.
Do those things too.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all. Lots of new content coming on this channel. Bunch of new videos. I got Last Call remastered version coming out next week. I've got some old Hoedown, very first Hoedown footage from the Hoedown #1.
That's exciting.
Coming out soon. Raw clips from that with John Julio and Dion Anthony and all sorts of old school legends. So thank you, everybody. It was really fun chatting with you both. I think we'll have to do this again, periodically.
Absolutely. Let's do it again soon.
So, all right, guys, take care. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Peace.